various aspects related to academic and student life. We will have
This meeting is being recorded.
A presentation from the Alumni Belgia chair, Pat Lucas, and from the PPI Leuven Belgia chair, Mbak Hannah. We will have extensive presentations from our competent regional authorities on education in Belgium, Renilde Knevels representing Study in Flanders, and Alice Rasson representing Wallonie-Bruxelles campus. And we will also provide you with information on how to apply for a student visa. This will be shared by our consul at the embassy, Ms. Anne Coutel. But first and foremost, we will have our ambassador to Indonesia, Timor-Leste and ASEAN, who will present his welcome remarks. So I would like to give the floor to the ambassador of Belgium, His Excellency Frank Felix.
Thank you, Sarah, and I hope you can all hear me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this morning in Belgium and this afternoon for Indonesia. In my new appointment here in Indonesia, I am here for a bit over a month, so I am learning a lot about this beautiful and extremely interesting country. Belgium is a country for whom academic diplomacy and people-to-people exchanges are a great priority. We believe very strongly in getting academics, students, professors, universities to exchange, to meet each other, whether it's online or direct. And we believe that this creates a much better understanding of our both cultures and our both countries. Belgian universities, and that's the ones you are interested in, they figure in very high positions in international rankings on quality of education and on research. So they are very interesting places to get your studies done. Because a Belgian university degree will help you getting the right contacts later and will open opportunities for great jobs afterwards. Belgium is also a country that is, by coincidence, but good for us, excellently located on the European map. We are really in the center of Western Europe. It's not for nothing that Brussels is, apart from being the capital of Belgium, also the capital of Europe. Within 1 or 2 hours, you are in Paris, London, Amsterdam, and many German cities. So you don't have to limit yourself to the Belgian territory. From there, everything is quite easily reachable. So it's a great place to live, very international. The population in Brussels and surroundings is so multinational and multilingual that you will easily find your way around. We will show you after my presentation a short video which will showcase this very clearly. It's a pleasure to see also that the number of students from Indonesia is growing. I mean, we are still in numbers that I would like to see growing much more, but I think this year we will reach around 150 students from Indonesia that will start their studies in Belgium, and that's almost a doubling from what we had a few years ago. I spoke already over the fact that Belgium is a multilingual society. Belgium is a federal country. Although we are small, we are still a federal country with 2 regions and 2 communities, 3 communities, but 2 that are most important. In the north of the country, you have the Flemish region where Dutch is the language. In the south, you have Wallonia, which is a region where they speak French. And then you have Brussels, which is bilingual French and Dutch. And we still have a small German-speaking community in the east of the country, but they are not represented here today. So I'm happy to have here experts present from our regional governments, the governments that are competent from education. the Flemish Higher Education Council, and the Wallonie-Brussels campus, who will later during this conference, during this webinar, present you in detail the possibilities of studying in one of the two regions. Also happy to see representatives of the PPI Belgia and Alumni Belgia that are in very important actors, and I'm happy to see them on the screen, and I will be even more happy to meet them in person over the next weeks. They are very important actors in support for academic diplomacy in general, and for students and alumni in particular. So we are looking forward, the whole team here at the embassy, but also our colleagues in Brussels, to welcome you, all prospective students, to Belgium, and we hope really that you could start your studies there. We think it's really going to help, and we will stay in touch for any further questions, remarks that you might have. So I wish you an excellent webinar, and I will listen in myself because I'm particularly interested myself to hear all the your remarks and questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Ambassador of Belgium to Indonesia, His Excellency Frank Felix, for these welcome remarks. We would like to now showcase you a short video on why Belgium is such a great place to visit, to study, to live in. I hope that video gave you a taste of how it's like to live and study in Belgium, and that it gave you more enthusiasm to join us in Belgium. Before we will go to the speakers from Belgium explaining on the educational system, scholarships, and all practical information on studying in Belgium, we would like to give the opportunity first to two Indonesian colleagues who have had the experience to study in Belgium or are currently still in Belgium. And we will start with the chair of the Alumna Belgia Association, Dr. Lucas, who will present you about the work of the alumni and how they can also help you. So I will give the floor to Pak Lucas now. Please, Pak Lucas.
Thank you, Mrs. Sarah Kirat, for the opportunity, and also very welcome to all the participants. Selamat siang, selamat sore buat teman-teman, and good morning those in Belgium. Thank you for the organizer, the Embassy of Belgium in Jakarta, Indonesia. Also some speaker who will share also today, Mrs. Renilde Nevels, Mrs. Alice Rasson, and Mrs. Kutil, ya. And here also, selamat pagi Mbak Hana. Okay, allow me to share my slides. The slides is in mixed language because most of the participants are Indonesian. Allow me to speak in English, but the slides might be some using Indonesian words. Okay, I hope you can see me this. So allow me to introduce our organization, our association. It is called as Alumni Belgia. It is an Indonesian association of those who has studied and graduated from Belgian higher education. My name is Lucas. I'm currently the chairman of this association and also lecturer at the Electrical Engineering Department of Faculty of Engineering Universitas Katolik Indonesia Atmajaya in Jakarta. Short history about this association. This is still very young. We just started about 2 years ago, namely after the online meeting. I mean, we have been gathering perhaps informally for many times, including with the support of Belgian ambassador from the previous one. But then we have on November 21st November 2020, we have online meeting during the pandemic era. We have team with the team. Waktu temanya kenangan manis di negeri fritur dan coklat. So we have nice memories of being in the country of fritur and chocolate. And it was attracted many participants, more than 200 of alumni, and many people also enjoy this time of reunion. And during that occasion, also attended by His Excellency Mr. Stefan de Locker, the previous ambassador for Belgium for Indonesia, and also Bapak Ruslan Ruslani at the time was the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and now he has become the Indonesian ambassador for the United States, Pak Ruslan Ruslani, and also that meeting attended by the Belgian Indonesian ambassador for Belgium, Bapak Andri Hadi. Until now, he is still in his office in Brussels. And after meeting, we feel that this kind of togetherness should be maintained, and therefore we agreed to create this association and created through a formatur team, small team organized about 7 people meeting at after the reunion on November 2020. We started this association, and then this is the some figures about that meeting of the November 2020. Quite cheerful, and we share many stories and some interaction, and we feel that we should have even not only online but also later on after the pandemic we should have the offline meeting. Currently, the organizer of the committee consists of 8 persons. I am as chairman, helped by Mbak Lani Johari as secretary, Mas Arsono as treasury, and also here attending this meeting, Mbak Felis, Mas Dimas, Mbak Prima. Pak Riza Suryo is in New Zealand. In fact, he is actively supporting us, and Mas Krishna also, he has, I think, assigned to work in Europe last year. Our vision is to become the place where we can meet for the alumni Belgia, those who has graduated and have studied in Belgium, whether he or she has been returned to Indonesia or still working and participating from abroad. This organization is open, non-partisan, so we are not affiliated with any political institution. We are non-profit, we are social activities, and mostly also supporting the professional and academic activities. In short, some of the mission, there are three things. First, we try to strengthen and maintain the relationship, togetherness of this alumni Belgium, and creating the synergy to support the members and also help promote better about the Belgium in Indonesia community. Also collaboration in the sense of education, in business, in social and other activities. And we also supporting the many local alumni organization, for instance, Leuven from association from the Ken alumni, Antwerpen alumni, and others. So we are the Alumni Belgium is something like the umbrella organization. Allow me to share you in short about what we have some impression because my time only limited to a few minutes. These are in short what I still remember. Belgium is very famous around the world for the diamond. Antwerp is the diamond capital of the world, and most of you also remind Belgium about chocolate, the best chocolate in the world, and friture, the French fries, and also the readings from when I was small, and most of the people also know about this, the comic of Tintin. We call it Tintin or Kefir or Tang Tang in many other languages. And we also remember that as explained by His Excellency Ambassador, about the location of Belgium, especially in the heart of Europe, is very interesting because it's the melting pot and crossing route of other countries. While I stayed there 6 years in Belgium, I have visited surrounding countries, and it was very easy. Just taking the bus, taking the train, and that's the best part because it's very practical to go visiting other countries as well. And enjoying the education in Belgium, there is the strong tradition of thinkers. There are many Nobel Prize winners from Belgium. If I'm not mistaken, about 10 or more Nobel Prize winners. And also, even before the Nobel Prize was awarded, there are many inventors from Belgium. Here are some links I can share about the recognition of the world about the education, the centuries-old universities in Belgium, and also scholarship that has been offered around the world, especially to Indonesia. Myself, I was one of the scholarship. I got the scholarship for the master and PhD study in Belgium, in Leuven. And then perhaps this is some faces that I am very happy to share with you. These are the most prominent figures in. Perhaps some of you know some faces. The previous Minister of Finance in Indonesia some years ago, Pak Bambang, and then there is also Pak Dendi, and this is one Pak Cepi. Pak Cepi Hakim is the ambassador for the Mexico. Pak Ruslan Lusani, the ambassador for the United States. Currently, there are two active ambassadors who are Belgian alumni. There's also Father Kees Bertens. He is from Netherlands, but he has studied in Leuven for his master and PhD. And some other, this Pak Bupati, and this is Pak Andre Jati, previously has been working in Belgium also in the embassy. And some other prominent figures, perhaps you know here some medical doctors, Pak Adi Wirawan, here the late Prof. Chandra Maga baru saja meninggal ya, and then Prof. Teguh still working in Leuven, and some others, Pak Prof. Hendrawan, who is one of the the member of parliament of Indonesia. Ibu, this is Miss Nafsyah Boy, previous Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Terus teman-teman yang suka makan, those who have interested in food, we have here Mas Andrea Perez too, who has restaurant next to the building of Belgian Embassy. Restaurant Daun Muda ini, Andrea Perez tuh also graduated from Leuven. Also some other prominent figures, this Uskup Bandung, Monsignor yang di Bandung, Bonyamin, and still a lot, hundreds of graduates in Indonesia and become prominent figures in Indonesia. And then some activities perhaps I can share with you. Sorry. And you see this one? The next is the Silaturahmi of VP Belgia and alumni. This is some of our activities of alumni Belgia. We organize also during this pandemic online meeting, webinar. This is online reunion. Next time, hopefully, we can have a offline reunion. This is in collaboration with PPI Belgia. So PPI Belgia and Alumni Belgia last 22nd May of 2021 last year. And also last year, Ibu Sarah has visited Yogyakarta and met on site with those friends in Yogyakarta. And I think that's all in short, our introduction about the Association of Alumni Belgia. Nanti teman-teman yang ingin menghubungi saya bisa di nomor ini atau this email. Thank you very much. I return to Ms. Sarah Hiran. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Lucas, for this presentation. I think it's good to know for prospective students that once that they have returned to Indonesia, they can be welcomed by the Alumni Belgia and have many more exciting opportunities here as alumni from Belgian universities. Of course, as prospective students, you're definitely waiting on information from the ground in Belgium. And so we will first turn to the chair of the PPI Belgium, so the Indonesian Student Association, Mbak Rika Hania, or we call her Mbak Hana, who will give you a bit more information on actual experience in Belgium, as she is joining us from Belgium, where she is currently studying. So, Mbak Hana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sarah. So I will share my screen for a while. I hope you can see my screen now. So yeah, basically, this morning in Belgium or in the afternoon in Indonesia, I will tell my story as a student in Belgium. And other than the student life and here in Belgium, I will also talk about the social life and the scholarship opportunities offered by the Indonesian government. So first, maybe a little bit about myself. So as of 2 days ago, I am the new chair of the Indonesian Student Association in Belgium, but I'm primarily still a student in here. So right now I'm studying Master in Information Management at KU Leuven, but previously I was also studied another master in Communication Science, but also in KU Leuven. So the fact that I am studying 2 masters in Belgium perhaps makes you think that there is something special about Belgium. And I also got quite a lot of work opportunities in Belgium. So first I started as communication manager and then communication and community officer at a social entrepreneurship company in Brussels. And then now, currently, I'm the communication assistant at EAV, or the European Association for Viewers' Interests. So maybe that's enough about me. So let's talk about Belgium. In terms of social life, the best word to describe that is vibrant. So Belgium is a really vibrant country, especially in Leuven. Leuven is really vibrant in my opinion. And now as things are returning to normal post-COVID situation, there are more and more student-led events and activities. So I saw one time last year during the first week of university, there were students like walking around in Leuven, and then they introduce the system here in Leuven. And there is also like orientation programs, which is pretty interesting actually. And in Leuven itself, there are weird and interesting events per each season. So in the summer, there is a Tapia. So it's a food festival all over the street of Leuven. So it's a really great environment to actually live in here. And in terms of my classes, so I really have a really good ratio between the international and the Belgian students. So you can always mingle with all of them. And once you found your clique, you can basically go anywhere with them. You can travel in Belgium, you can travel around Belgium and anywhere basically with them. And so right now I'm studying in KU Leuven and I live in Leuven. So what I like about this city is that there is a weekly market every Friday and every Saturday. So outside of university life, you can also explore the city itself and you get to sense and feel the vibe for as long as you study in here. And then you get to see and try new stuff as well. And also in here, people, especially Lebanese, they really like to people watch. So just sit in the cafe and then just buy a drink and then just sit there and just see people. And that's okay in here. And that's something that I picked up slowly in here. But yeah, as an Indonesian student, there will be times where you'll miss Indonesian food, Indonesian community, Indonesian friends, and even talking in Indonesia. So that's where the PPI, or the Indonesian Student Association in Belgium, will fill that hole. So PPI Belgia, or the Indonesian Student Association in Belgium, is a student-led community-based organization by the Indonesian students for the Indonesian students. So the main purpose or the main idea is that PPI Belgia is the second home for Indonesian students in Belgium. And so PPI Belgia is the bigger organization, and there is also local PPI as well. So there is PPI Leuven, PPI Gent, PPI Antwerp, PPI Liège, PPI Hasselt, and PPI Brussels as well. So there are events such as Halal Bihalal after Ramadan, so you'll meet people and yes, Indonesian diaspora, and then you get to eat Indonesian food, of course, there. And then so a few months ago, in August, there is also the celebration for the Indonesian independence in the Indonesian embassy in Brussels. And yeah, there are Indonesian food, and then you get to try like the normal 17-an games. And there's some dances as well, if I remember correctly. But a more student-based event such as Welcoming Day is also will be organized by the PP Belgia, and also Careers Day, for example, or field trip. But for me, before I'm the chair of PPI Belgia, I'm also one of the executive committee for PPI Leuven. And last year we did barbecue night, potluck lunch, and we also had a trip to Keukenhof in the Netherlands. So it's a really good community if you miss Indonesian people and just to talk in Indonesia in general. So at least in my experience, I feel less lonely when I know there's a big Indonesian community here in Belgium. And
Bahana, you
yeah,
have 2 minutes left for your presentation.
sorry.
You have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, okay. And to the fun part, student life can be really stressful in here, but there are lots of help from the university as well. And your friends can really help you achieve that. The classes are pretty chill in here, but in my opinion, you can ask for a lot of help in here, in my opinion. And for scholarship, there are two that are offered by the Indonesian government. LPDP, it's offered by the Ministry of Finance, and its second one is ISMA, or the Indonesian International Student Mobility Award, and it's open to bachelor students, to the undergraduate path, and for diploma students for the vocational path. So, and ISMA, there are lots of students coming to Leuven this year. So I think that's a new popular scholarship for now. And yeah, basically that's my presentation. If you have any question, again, as Sarah had mentioned, please keep it first by yourself, and then I will answer it during the Q&A session. And yeah, so that will conclude my presentation for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bahana, for these informations from Belgium directly. I think it's also good to know for prospective students that they will be welcomed by PPI Belgia once they get to Belgium, and that although there are many things to discover in Belgium, there will also be a flavor of home from Indonesia there. So now we're going to the core of our webinar, the presentations by our colleagues from Belgium, from the competent instances for education, so study in Flanders and study in Wallonie and Brussels. So I will give the floor to Renilde Knevels and Alice Rasson, who will give a shared presentation to you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Nice. Okay. So Ronil, it's to you.
Yes, thank you. My name is Renilde Knevels and I work for a study in Flanders, and I will present the first part of this presentation, and then I will give the floor to Alice Rasson, who will speak for the French-speaking part of Belgium. So this is a picture of the Grand Place in Brussels. It's very nice, and we hope you will all soon visit it while you come to Belgium. Just to dive into the presentation, if you see on the next slide, we just put a few facts together there about Belgium. As you see, we are a very tiny country, probably like one of the islands, small islands of Indonesia. But we have a bit over 11 million inhabitants, so quite a lot of people to meet. And as you have already heard, many nationalities, so you can certainly find someone who speaks your language. The capital is Brussels, and we are a monarchy. Maybe if you have seen the funeral of the Queen, you have seen the Belgian royals as well. Very international, so it has been said a few times already, we are at the heart of Europe. We have, of course, the European institutions here. We have the headquarters of NATO here in Brussels, but this brings about, of course, a lot of international companies and organizations, which are then very interesting for you to do an internship or to find a job later on, where you don't immediately have to know French or Dutch, where you can find an English spoken work environment as well. Very multilingual, and of course, a nice quality of life. Then, as our ambassador already explained, we have 3 languages, so also 3 communities, but for the higher education sectors, the universities, we don't have a big German-speaking university, so that's why we will speak about the Dutch-speaking higher education system, Flemish higher education, and the French-speaking. And as you heard also, Brussels is bilingual, so in Brussels, you can find both Flemish and French-speaking higher education institutions. So a bit more about, the type of higher education institutions. We have universities, like research intensive universities. And then we also have another type of institutions, more practice-based, professional-oriented institutions. In the French-speaking part, we call them university colleges, and in the Dutch-speaking part, we call them universities of applied sciences and arts, because the schools of arts are integrated there. In the French-speaking part, the schools of arts are separate institutions. So this is an important choice to make if you want to have like a more academic research-based degree, you look for universities. If you want a more practice-based degree with internships, for example, involved, and practice-based like applied research, you look more for a University of Applied Sciences. Then the structure of all the study programs, they are the same in the whole European higher education area. So the first cycle is the bachelor cycle. Our bachelor programs take 180 ECTS. These are the European credits. So this is normally 3 years, except for nursery studies. And then you have some programs called advanced bachelor. So then it's an extra 1-year program after you already have a bachelor degree. The second cycle is the master degree. And then we have master programs for 60 or 120 credits, exception for medicine, again, 3 years. And then the third cycle is, of course, the PhD cycle, which equals 180 credits as well. But, well, PhD programs are tailor-made, or they depend on research projects. So that's, yeah, there you will have to see. If we go then to the next slide, you will see the organization of the academic year. Now, this week or next week is actually the week when we start. So if you would come to Belgium, for example, next year, you would have had probably the orientation week last week or this week, and then start your classes around mid or end September. Then almost all study programs are organized in semesters. So it means you have classes until the end of December. Then you have a short break to study for your exams, and exams would take place in January. After the exams, you have 1 week off. That would be the ideal week to visit Europe, to receive friends, to go around. And then the second semester starts early February, and you have classes again till mid-May, I would say, or end of May, and exams in June. We have retake exams in August or September. So it has been said, sometimes a course can be a bit challenging. It's true, especially also because you have to adapt to the system or the type of exams. For example, we have presentations, we have written exams, but we also have oral exams. For some international students, this is new. But we also have a retake session in summer where you can still get the credit and pass on to the next year without any problems. Then, yes, a few words about the Flemish higher education system. So the 5 universities we have are listed here: Ghent University, KU Leuven, University Hasselt, University of Antwerp, and VUB, or Vrije Universiteit Brussel. So you see, we have one in Brussels too. Altogether, they had last year 160 students. We're still counting the enrollments because Belgians can enroll until the start of the year. We have certainly 13% of international students in master's and PhD levels. This is much higher in undergraduate levels, bachelor levels. This is a bit lower, so the average is 13, but we feel and we see a trend that this is probably going up now. And of course, the universities have excellent positions in the rankings, as it has already been said. Then we go on to the next slide. You see the 13 universities of applied sciences we have, and a few have arts programs as well. They also represent 150,000 students. As I already said, more practice-based bachelor degrees mainly. Only the arts and the Maritime Academy offer master degrees, but the others offer only bachelor degrees in the Flemish part. Then we go on to the next slide. In terms of tuition fees, we are, I think, a very interesting study destination. Both the Flemish and the Francophone side, they are very low compared to the quality of education you get. This is not because, well, it's important to understand, it's not because the programs are cheap, but it's because also international students pay only a part of the actual cost of the study. So there is still some taxpayers' money actually going to your education as well. So some programs have the same fee for international students as for European students, 970 euros. And the average is up to 6,000. I would say every program and every university in Flanders can choose their own tuition fee, so we cannot give one exact price. Then the admission criteria. First, they look at your previous degree. So if you want to study a master, they will look at your bachelor. If you want to study a bachelor, they will look at your high school degree. You will always need a proof of English proficiency through, you know, TOEFL or IELTS or a recognized test. And then some programs will have a program-specific criterion. For example, if you want to study engineering and you have a high school degree, you may have to take an SAT test or a JMAT test or some internationally recognized tests. We have very few entry examinations. For example, for fine arts and music, they will have, you know, an entrance exam. For medicine as well, but at the Flemish side, we offer medicine mainly in Dutch and only some specific advanced masters in English. The admission deadlines for non-EU students who need to apply for a visa later on, they are quite early, they're February, March. Now, I must say that since the pandemic with, you know, some issues delaying visas and so on, these deadlines have become soft deadlines. So there is not like 1st of February, and if you apply the 2nd of February, you're not taken into account anymore. But it is still very recommendable to start early in the process, because you need time to process your visa, you need time to prepare and to arrive here on time. Then also the English taught programs, we have more and more every year. As I said, a few less at the bachelor level, 64 was the last count we made, and then a few advanced bachelor degrees. Many more master degrees, and also advanced masters. Advanced masters are masters you can do after you already have a master degree. Then we also have what we call postgraduate degrees. Careful here, postgraduate doesn't mean master. A postgraduate degree is actually more a certificate. It can be 30 credits, 20 credits, also 60 credits, but it's not a master degree. So that's the difference. And as I said, for the PhDs, it can be really, you have a PhD proposal and you find a professor and you are a self-paid PhD student, or you want a scholarship and you are part of a research project. It can be done in many different ways. So there you really have to talk to the university and the professor. But you find all these things on our website. So studyinflanders.be, and then you go to programs. And we also have a page for the PhDs to land directly on the PhD pages of the different universities. Also very interesting to see some more videos. I put it already here, but later on you will see it again on another slide, that we have videos on our website of students. And I must say, we are actually launching now this week new student videos, and tomorrow there will be a video launched of an Indonesian student who studies here. So check out our Instagram account, Facebook account, where we will put a short clip, and then you will find the link to her video on our website. Then important probably also for you, the scholarships. Of course, there is the Erasmus Plus scholarship for joint masters. Yesterday I was in the train, and actually I was in the train with an international student who found Erasmus Plus joint master scholarship. Then we also have, sponsored by the Flemish government, the Mastermind Scholarship Program. There you get a tuition fee waiver. You get 8,400 euros for your living expenses. And you have to be, if you want to take part, you have to be pre-selected by the host institution. So you still have to start applying first. Then they pre-select you. The selections are done in May, so after the admissions process, and then early May, 1st of June, around that time, you would know the result. Another scholarship is US scholarship. It's only valuable for 29 countries, but Indonesia is one of them, so that's the good news for you. It's valid only for 15 specific master programs. You can find them on their website. The call is not open yet. The call will open in November, I think. But this is also a very interesting scholarship because the amount is a bit higher than the Mastermind scholarship. So that could also be interesting for you. And then sometimes you have scholarships from the host institutions, which can be a tuition fee waiver or a discount on the tuition, or also some extra money for your living expenses. There are very few, but it depends. Some programs have a few scholarships every year for international students. If we go to the next slide. Yes, here I put the links again for our videos. So we have videos for international students, as I already said. Also, they will be launched on Facebook and Instagram. And when the academic year is starting, we will have student takeovers again of our Facebook and Instagram account. So if you go there, you will already see students who took over our account for 1 week, for example, and show their life and what it is like to study here, to live here. And that could be very insightful for you to see if this is a good match for you. Another thing, you can stay in Belgium after your studies. You can apply for what we call the orientation year, and to find a job or to start your own business even. And we have some alumni who did find jobs and are still working in Belgium. And we also made some videos with them, and they are under the section after your studies on our website. And then you scroll down, meet our alumni. I think that's it for my part. And then Alice, I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Ronil. Hi, everyone. I'm Alice. Now let's talk about the higher education system in the French-speaking Belgium. So as Ronil said, we have 3 types of higher education institutions. We have universities, we have university colleges, and we also have schools of arts. As you can see here, we have 6 universities spread across the Wallonia-Brussels territory. These 6 universities offer high-quality research-based education, and among the population of approximately 98,000 students, 25% of them are international, and for the PhD students, it's about 40% of them that come from abroad. Besides the university, we have the university colleges. It's kind of university of applied sciences. The 19 university colleges aim to produce excellent professionals that will contribute to the economic, social, cultural development of Wallonia-Brussels. And after my presentation, an Indonesian student will share her experience in one of these university colleges in French-speaking Belgium. But let's see after that. The university colleges offer programs that are based on both theory and practice, and the students have the opportunity from the first year of the program to receive professional experience in the labor market through internship. And finally, in French-speaking Belgium, we have also 16 schools of arts. Among these schools, the proportion of international students is very high, from 30% to 90%. These institutions offer courses in visual arts, music or performing arts. And from the first year of the program, these schools of arts offer a link between art practices and research. For this type of higher education institution, there is an admission examination. Okay, about the admission request, it's almost the same that Ronil said. Every institution has their own deadlines for the admission requests, but generally registration closes at the end of April. So we advise you to complete this procedure in February or in March. Yes, it's safer. About the tuition fee, the Wallonia-Brussels Federation has made democratic access to higher education one of its priorities. That's why, in comparison to many countries, European countries, for example, admission fees are lower for students. For example, for non-European students, so for Indonesian students, a 2-year master program will cost about 5,000 euros for the 2 years. About English taught programs, we have a lot of programs entirely taught in English. If you do not speak French, you can easily study and research in the Wallonia-Brussels Federation. But keep in mind that you always have the opportunity to learn French during your studies, and it's a good opportunity for the progression of your career. Okay, so in our website, studyinbelgium.be, you can find a research engine to check about the formation suitable for you, the degree, the sector, the language, etc. So it can be interesting to check on this motor engine. Okay, about scholarship, we have several grants that you can find also in our website. We have grants from Erasmus+, from Wallonia-Brussels International for research students for postdoctoral level. And we also have a scholarship from the RS. The next call will be launched very soon in October or at the end of this month. This is a full scholarship, and it's the opportunity to follow a 1-year advanced bachelor's or master degree program. Here you have the link where you can find the call for these grants. Okay, and here you can find our contact details. We have an email, we have the website, we also have the social media as Facebook and Instagram. So please do not hesitate to contact us if you have more questions after the webinar. Okay, so now maybe you may wonder what distinguishes Belgium from other countries or other European destinations for your studies. So we want to explain 5 good reasons to go to Belgium to make your study. Okay, the reason number 1 is that Belgium is in the heart of Europe. As René already said, our country is well connected with all nearby countries. Almost all European capitals are reachable very quickly by train or by plane, so it's very nice for your holiday. In addition, Belgium plays a strategic role in Europe, as many international institutions and enterprises have their offices here. It's good to find an internship or to find a job after the study with this visa orientation year. The reason number 2, it's about the excellence of our higher education institutions. Belgium offers a very favorable environment toward innovation, and especially in the fields of biotechnology, logistics, engineering, life sciences, aeronautics, environment, and other sectors. And with the support of research funds, higher education institutions and other stakeholders have developed a large panel of research center, spin-off scientific parks, which welcome a wide international community. Also about the fee, we already explained the price for tuition fees in Belgium. Here you can have a table with the estimate cost for a month for a student's life. I will just wait a minute so you can check. And then the reason number 4, it's about the openness of Belgium. Belgium is a very multicultural and very international country. You can see here the high proportion of international students, professors, and researchers in the higher education institutions. And moreover, higher education institutions have been developing international programs and degrees for many years through, for example, the Erasmus programs. And they also have great experience in developing and managing joint programs or double PhD degrees. And this type of collaboration is a very powerful instrument for fostering international research cooperation. And then last but not least, reason number 5, the very vibrant cultural life that we have in Belgium. Belgium offers a very good quality of life and an excellent healthcare system. Culture and sport are easily accessible for students. We have a very vibrant cultural life with a lot of international festivals. Tomorrowland is probably the most famous one. We also have a great gastronomy, Belgian beer, Belgian fries. This is not French fries, but Belgian fries. So we hope to welcome you in Belgium next or in the future. Before closing our presentation, I would like to introduce Nabila Waret. She is currently studying business at ISHEC Brussels Management Schools, and she will share her experience in Belgium with you. I don't know if she's in.
I'm here.
Hi, Nabila. So I give you the floor.
Thank you, Alice. Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Nabila Warif, and I am currently a second-year student in ISHEC Brussels Management School, and it is on the French side. So a little about my program. I am doing business management in a bilingual program, so it's between French and English because I graduated from a French school, and for bachelor, ISHEC offers either bilingual or full French. Okay, and now a little more about my campus. It's a really great campus because they give you opportunities to study new languages. We have an opportunity to study 2 more languages, such as German, Dutch, or Chinese, Italian, or Spanish. And the program itself is very good. It's it's challenging, but it's fun because you have people who help you pass your exams. Okay, so that's a little about my campus. And now I would like to talk about my social life here. So the social life here is great. It's very diverse. Brussels is very diverse. You have people coming from all around the world, so you have new friends, you learn new cultures, and of course the Brussels life itself. I love like Belgian people. They're very welcoming, they're very nice, and it's great. I have a lot of friends that I met in campus, and also I have friends that are studying here in like either the Flanders side that are Indonesians, and we also have an Indonesian community here that's called PPI, and currently I'm the vice president. PPI is a very good community for me, especially for all of us from Indonesia, because it makes me feel like home, like I'm home in a way when I'm with them. Okay, and here are my friends. You can see it on the screen. These are my Indonesian friends, and there are more. Not everyone is in the picture. Okay, so now I would like to talk about what I do in my free time. So here I actually signed up for some activities like going to the gym. Then I have I can do free activities like after school or between classes. I go to the park and I just sit there, read a book. So it's really nice here. You have a lot of stuff to do. It's you don't really worry about wasting like a lot of money to hang out or anything, because you can actually hang out or just walk around the city and it's fun, in my opinion. And yeah, your friends will always be there to like accompany you. So yeah, it's great. Other than that, during my holidays, we have like short holidays, like for example, a week, or for Christmas holidays that is a bit longer. And summer, I like to travel. Here I went to so far Paris and Amsterdam because I didn't really have time. Because they're very close. You can go by bus that is very cheap. So it's a 17 euros for like the return ticket to Amsterdam. And then there are also you can go to other countries by train or airplanes, like Alice said, but I prefer going to travel with bus and the closest one, so I don't really have to waste so much money because I'm a student. But yes, it's very close and you can travel anywhere you want. It's studying here is really a great opportunity for me. It's I'm really grateful to be able to study here. Also, with the price of like the tuition fees is very, in my opinion, it's pretty cheap for an international student. In ISHEC, I only pay around 2,400 euros, and that is for the whole year. So that is that's perfect for me, and maybe for some friends. And yeah, so that's a bit about me and Brussels itself. It's small, it's reachable, you can go anywhere. So yes, it's really nice. Like you have places to visit, you eat waffles, you eat fries. My favorite is fries. I love fries. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabila. So maybe we can wait for the question and answer to the end of the webinar.
Yes, we will keep the question. I seem to have some technical problems. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. So thank you very much for the presentation from Study in Flanders and Wallonie-Brussels campus, and as well for the testimony of Nabila. So Nabila and also Pa Lucas from the alumni and Mbak Hannah from PPI België are still in the webinar and will also be able to answer certain specific questions that you might have at the end of the session. I would also like to again remind you to fill in the attendance list via the link that has been shared in the chat, because we will also be circulating the presentations to the people that filled in the attendance list. But then now for the last part of our webinar, before we go to the questions and answering session, I would like to give the floor to our consul, Ms. Anne Coutel, who will give a short presentation on visa, study visa, because of course, in order to be able to come to Belgium, you will need a study visa to enter the country. So I give the floor to my colleague, Anne.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon or good morning to everybody. As Sarah announced, I will give a few comments on the visa issue, and I will ask my colleague Irham, the moderator, to put the presentation in this chat. So please, Irham. Okay. So, well, before I start, I'm here since last August, so I am now on my second season of dealing with the visa applications for students. Last year it was already ongoing, and this year I could see it started like in early June already. So out of that experience combined to my previous posting that was in Morocco, where we had loads of visa applications and where the student season was really very intensive. I will give you these remarks that will come and make some side notes if applicable. So yeah, student visa application. Yeah, please, next slide. Okay, so if you have had your choice, you have been listening to the colleagues and they have been promoting and explaining all the different kinds of programs that exist. And they have also talked about enrollment to have the admissions. Can you, yeah, just stay on the first slide, thank you. So it is important to choose the appropriate program for you and to start the enrollment procedure in time, which I learned as well is February, March, because this is really necessary in order to start with the visa application. You can only start once you have been admitted to a Belgian university. So if that's done, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so admission letter is definitely the first document that is needed, and it normally does, but make sure it is clearly mentioning which program you are admitted to. The conditions of that admission will be listed and will be verified by us as well, as often it refers to the diplomas, which you will not have yet obtained by the time of your enrollment, but you will have them by the time you are applying for the visa. And also the study year, the academic year is mentioned. And well, we had last week an admission letter where wrongly it was written 21-22 instead of 22-23. So we had to ask for a revision of that document. Just an enter parenthesis, for some programs, especially when you do a preparatory course, the real program you're enrolling for will be a bit later. So make sure it is very clear on your admission letter that all the data are correct and clear. Also, a preparatory course, it has to be minimum 12 hours a week. So it's not just I take a language of 3 hours a week and I can already be there preparing for my main program. No, it has to be like a minimum preparatory course with 12 hours a week. Next slide, please. Okay, so next important document will be the passport, of course. Passport is a travel document. You will not need it if you're just in Indonesia, but if to travel internationally, you need a passport, and it should be valid at least 1 year, 12 months. If it's shorter, we cannot process your visa application. It should also contain at least two blank pages. We have to be able to put the visa sticker, and there has to be still place to put some stamps. So make sure it has at least two blank pages. And I make here a comment on the signature of the passport, because there have been recently a few serious and in numbers quite a lot of Indonesian passports that do not have been produced, that were not produced with a signature field in the passport. So that has caused a little crisis to find the correct solution, and it has been all formalized now. Those passports, they will not be withdrawn, but there is a solution that the bearer can sign his passport on the endorsement page and have it validated by the immigration office. So we have had recently relatively a lot of those passports. So we can already receive the visa application, but it has to be regulated before delivery of the visa. So that just a remark, make sure your passport has the signature, or if not, you can already go and get it validated at the immigration office. Okay, next slide. The next important thing is the financial means. Although we have heard the studying in Belgium is relatively cheap, but you will need to have money to finance your staying in Belgium. And there are some minimums that we require to see in your admission, in your application form. You should have right now 730 euros per month staying in Belgium. Those amounts are revised yearly. So for the next year, you should verify. It will slightly be more, or maybe substantially be more, with the inflation that we have today. But for this year, it is 730 euros per month. We see the academic year, mostly it is a 12-month year study program. So you have to multiply that by 12. And so you have options to prove these financial means. You can present us a blocked account certificate. So there basically you will wire the money to your university, and quite a lot of the university to offer this option, but not all. So you have to check if your university or institutional educational institute provides this way of financing your studies. Then you wire that money, and you will have the certificate, and the university will pay you monthly the monthly part of your amount of your money. The second option for the sufficient financial means is the scholarship. We have heard and seen that there are a large gamma of possibilities of the scholarships. I can confirm that we have seen a lot of Vlier US scholarships, but also we have quite some scholarships from the Indonesian government, as was mentioned by Lucas and Hanya, I think. So and there are, of course, the individual scholarships from some other instances. So there are quite some opportunities. Do explore them, and if you can provide the scholarship into your visa applications, that's fine for us. If those two options are not good for you, the third option would be that you have your own financial sponsor, which can be somebody from your family, or it can be a European citizen. And then we will need to have some more information about it. So the two first options, they clearly give the amount you will get monthly, and if the insurance is included in the scholarship, if the travel expenses, we will have all the details. But for the sponsor, we do not have it, and we will ask some more documentations. So can we go to the next slide? Oops, you can fill it all up because there was an animation that's apparently not being removed. Okay, so if you have the sponsor, then we will look at his regular and sufficient revenues. So that amount is, as for this academical year, defined on 1,845 euros a month if the sponsor is sponsoring one person. The sponsor will also have to present his salary slips if he is on if he has a working contract, or he will have to provide his last tax report together with bank statements of the last 12 months. So that is in order to verify if the revenues are regular and sufficient. I already told the sponsor should be 18 years old, can be a family member, so Indonesian in our case, or can be a Belgian or EU national or resident in there. If it is a family member, the relationship should also be proved within the visa application through the birth and marriage certificates, whatever that applies. Okay, next slide. Another important document is the medical insurance. And there we take like different types of medical insurance into account. So there is the normal Schengen travel insurance that has a coverage minimum of 30,000 euros, and that you can provide us for the whole year period of your study. The second option would be an insurance that you take within Belgium, like from the mutuals, such as the Christian Mutual, the CM, but you also have Helen. You have different medical insurance possibilities in Belgium. And a lot of the scholarships, they will help you to subscribe to one of those medical insurances. And there is for the special mobility programs, there is the European Health Insurance Card. So it's important that that the medical insurance is concluded and covers the whole of your stay. At least there is a possibility that you have it for 3 months. Then we will also give only the visa for 4 months, because then you have to do a regularization of the medical insurance in Belgium. Also, sometimes the medical insurance of the scholarship will start at the beginning of the academic year, but you may want to go a little bit earlier to Belgium. In that case, make sure you have a coverage with a Schengen travel insurance policy, that you are at all time covered medically. If not, we cannot give the visa. Next slide, please. Okay, some other mandatory documents. As I said, normally your admission is in function of the diploma that you will not yet have at the time of enrollment. So we have to verify if you fulfill these conditions. We see a lot of you coming with these documents already apostilled. That may be a good idea if you need to present them later on in Belgium. For us, for the visa procedure, it is not necessary that those diplomas are apostilled. So no reason for us to do it. If you don't need them afterwards in Belgium, then you can just handle them in normally. What does need the apostille is the police record. That is a mandatory document as well. Or if you're under 18 years old, it will be parental authorization letters, and those documents have to bear the apostille. Just for information, the apostille is the legalization of the document, and Indonesia joined the convention of the apostille since last June. So before it was all legalizations, and now it is apostille. I see Hanya looking like, what's the apostille? This is relatively new, but it works very well. It's going smoothly, and it is easier for you to obtain those documents. It's an easier procedure.
And I'm sorry,
another mandatory document.
2 minutes.
How much?
2 minutes.
2. Yeah, I think I'm almost there. That's good. You will need to complement your file with a medical certificate from one of the doctors that are accredited by our embassy, and you can find a list on our website. And you will have to give us a proof of payment, which is the contribution fee. The amounts are there. It depends whether you're studying in a public institution or a private one. And the handling fee for the visa procedure can be paid when you come to the embassy or before by transfer. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think I will be in the 2 minutes. This is just the checklist that we have on our website. So we made this checklist. You can really come with a prepared file. You find all the documents that I have gone through. You will find on this form the links to the exact page where you can find amount of the financial means, where you can find explanation of the legalization or apostille procedure. You will find it all there, and the link is there. And then I think I have still one more slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so what I wanted to say, please apply in time. You can do that, and it will avoid the stress of not having the response in time. You can apply as early as 6 months before your planned trip, and please minimum 3 weeks before the date of your desired departure. Prepare a complete file, and then everything will go smoothly. So you make your schedule for the appointment visa via the link that you see there, and then we are ready to put ourselves to work for you and to analyze and deliver the visa, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne, for this presentation on visa application. It's a little bit technical, but very important if you want to actually get to Belgium after you have been accepted by one of our institutions of higher education. We have come to the last part of our webinar today, the question and answer session. So we invite you to post your question in the chat. I will collect them and ask our speakers to reply to your questions. You're also welcome to raise your hand if you want to actually ask your question directly to one of the speakers. For now, we have some questions already in the chat. The first questions or few questions that we had were related to PhD opportunities. So this is a question for Renilde and Alice. If you can say a few words specifically on PhD opportunities, first of all related to scholarships, and then the second question was more in detail related to health and medical science. So I give the floor to Renilde and Alice.
Yes, so as I already said in the presentation, the PhD case is very dependent on the PhD project. For example, a PhD or a group of 3-4 PhD students can be recruited in the framework of a European Research Council research project. Then they will post it as a vacancy on the websites you will find via our website. And you do an interview and you provide everything you need and a research paper probably. And when you are admitted, you are in the team, and your scholarship is, well, it's more like a starting salary. If you have other scholarships, the amount will differ, can differ a few €100 a month. But still, it is a scholarship. You can rent a flat and you can decently live. That's for sure. If you have your own proposal, we see a lot of PhD students who have their own proposal, who want to do a PhD, not necessarily part of a research project. This is actually also very easy, because one of the things is you have to pay tuition fees only the first year and the last year of your, when you finish the PhD and you present. In the Flemish higher education system, at least it's like this. And also the tuition fees are very low. They are, I think, 500-600 euros. They are lower than the tuition fees for bachelor and master studies. Until now, this is the case. And this is also an option, but then of course you have to prove your own financial sufficiency so that you can support yourself during your PhD. But it really depends, or sometimes there's a project together with the industry or with a research institute or a scientific park. So there's no one answer to that. And I would say you should follow the websites of the universities where they post vacancies on PhD programs. Alice, I see you nodding, but I give the floor to you.
Yeah, everything is clear with Ronald, but what I can add, it's that the tuition fee in Wallonia and Brussels, but it's I guess the more or less the same in the Flemish part. It's that students for a PhD will pay about 800 euro the first year, and then for the second and third year, it's about 30 and 60 euros. So it's very more cheaper than a master or bachelor degree for the tuition fees. And also, if this is not a call, but students want to make a PhD in Belgium, the first condition for us is that the students have found a teacher, a professor that will carry the thesis, and then he can have the application request. And another detail is that for a PhD degree, this is not the same yearly calendar. You can start your PhD in the middle of the year. There is no problem for that. Yes, and of course, for the PhD, you don't have to speak French or Flemish. Most of the time, you can do your research in English.
Okay, thank you. I think there was a quite comprehensive answer from Renilde and Alice, and there is, of course, always more information to be found on the websites of our respective higher institutions, as well as the Wallonie-Brussels campus and Study in Flanders websites. We have another question related to, I assume this is a prospective student with children, wondering whether if you bring children as a student, whether this is possible, where your children can go to school, and what about fees for your children for elementary and junior high school. So maybe this is also a question for Alice and Renilde, because I don't think that Mbahana has children currently in Belgium. So we will give Alice and Renilde the floor again.
Yes, I have children.
I don't have.
Yes, so schools, international schools in Brussels, we have plenty of international schools. In Leuven, we have an international school. Antwerp, we have an international school. I think, I'm not sure about Ghent, but distances are also very short. You know, the Ghent and Brussels is a 30-minute train ride, for example. So you could still see to where you live if you have a child that has to go to an international school. Their fees, of course, depend. The American International School, ISB, here in Brussels is very popular and very expensive. We also have French schools, you know, international schools. They are less expensive. So there you will have to see. There is an elementary international school in Leuven that started quite recently, with also more moderate prices. But then I would say I have lived abroad myself, and I switched my children from Dutch to French in an international school when they were 14 and 11. So don't worry too much with kids. They are able to handle a lot and they learn a language very quickly. and don't be afraid to put them in the local schools, which will be for free, and they offer very good education. So you will find schools, even actually, I remember now when I lived abroad, I had a house in Leuven and I rented it out to an Indonesian researcher. It's true, I remember now. And the kids went to the local school and they were happy there and it all went well. So no worries with kids. They are stronger than you think and they will adapt very quickly.
Okay, thank you, Renilde, for that answer. We have a question specifically directed to our Indonesian colleagues who have had or have an experience in Belgium. And the question is related to racism and whether, as an Indonesian student in Belgium, you have experienced racism and how to deal with it. I think this is an important question that we can give to our Indonesian colleagues. So maybe Mbak Hana first, as you are currently in Belgium.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So for this past 2 years, actually, I've never experienced any racism in here. So it's a pretty international environment, actually, and they're pretty tolerant towards each other. So pretty safe as well in here. So yeah.
Thank you, Mbak Hana. I'm sorry, I was still on mute. Thank you, Mbak Hana. Maybe Nabila could also answer this, since she also had...
Nabila left because she had some lessons. So
okay, no problem.
She's not
No
here
problem.
now.
Then maybe I turn to Palukas and also give him an opportunity to answer this question. Palukas, please.
Yes, thank you. I live in Belgium, especially Leuven, quite some time ago. It was 97 until 2003. And I travel around Belgium also, visiting many places, especially in the touristic area. And I think I have never experienced a problem with the racism. I enjoy it everywhere. The Belgians are very kind. In addition to the situation, myself, I'm handicapped. I am paralyzed on my right leg, and I don't feel problem with being in Belgium. When I arrived in Belgium, this limitation, I also was welcomed very well in Leuven with the Huisvestingdienst, the office of the the university, providing even for the handicapped students or people with special needs are provided and carefully. They give recommendations and show us the important informations. Even for those who need for the kids, I think all the information also provided as mentioned. So not necessarily international school, but local school. I also I can share that some of the Indonesian students, member of PPI, during my period when I was there 6 years, some of the PhD students from Indonesia also have some kids, and they just bring their kids to the local school, and they grew very well. They learn the language, learn the culture, and there is no problem with the adaptation. I think even some of them have beautiful memories of being in Belgium when they were small. One of the prominent figures in Indonesia who was having small memories while kid in Belgium is Isyana Saraswati, the famous Indonesian singer. She was in Leuven when she was small and studied in local school, I think, in Leuven. I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Palukas, for this very extensive answer. We have some more questions. We have a few questions for Anne, but I would like to take another question first that's in the chat for Renilde and Alice related to nursing studies. So how can you become a nurse? I mean, study in Belgium to become a nurse, and whether there is some specific information on requirement and tuition fees for this.
In Wallonia and Brussels, to to follow this kind of study program. It's in the university colleges that you can find a good program. About the tuition fee, it's not different than the other study programs. So it will be as we said about in French-speaking Belgium, 4,000 euro the first year, and then if you pass all the exams, it's about 800 euro for the next years, second and third years. In the motor engine, I told you, you can find all the programs in all the sectors, so you can check with nurse, and you will find all the university colleges that provide that kind of program. I will add the link at the chat so you can check, and maybe Renil have other remarks or details about that.
Yes, I can add that it's a very good question, because yes, we lack nurses. So please come and study nursery in Belgium. It's true. So what we have at the Flemish side, of course, when you work as a nurse in the hospitals, we have, of course, all the internationals who might also end up in the hospital, but also the local language is very important. We have specific Dutch language courses to prepare nursery studies before you start. And then we have various tracks. So sometimes it's tracks for people who have work experience already, or the normal bachelor degree, which is then a degree, a 4-year degree. This was the exceptional degree for 4 years bachelor. And we have another study level integrated in the universities of applied sciences. I haven't talked about it much because we don't have any English taught programs. It's called associate degree. So it's only 2 years of study, and there as well we have a type of nursing degree as well. So there's no difference in tuition fees, but you can then study in Dutch if you do the preparatory course.
Thank you, Renilde, and I'm reminding all the participants to fill in the attendance list, so we will send you the presentations with all the links that Renilde and Alice have provided. 2 questions for my colleague Anne. One is related to visa if you do a preparatory language course, particularly for KU Leuven at ILT, but I'm assuming that there are other preparatory language courses. So how about the visa application for a preparatory language course? And the second question for Anne, I'm going to give them to you at once, is about travel, Schengen travel insurance. How can we stay in Belgium for studies if the Schengen travel insurance only covers for a maximum of 1 year? So Anne, I give you these questions.
Yep. Okay. So the question on the language course, I said in my presentation that a preparatory year can be done, or a preparatory 6 months, so that is possible. You should, however, have a language course that is at least 12 hours a week. So I do not know. I mean, I studied at ELT when I was at university a long time ago, but that was only 3 hours a week. But I do remember, and I'm quite sure they have intensive courses. So make sure you have a program that has at least 12 hours a week. And what is important is that the preparatory language course makes part of your study trajectory, which aims at higher studies in Belgium. So if you only come to Belgium to learn the Dutch language, that's not a very solid application. But if it is a preparatory time to have higher studies in Belgium, that's a more solid file. And I will complement this with something that I didn't tell actually in my presentation. One of the things we ask during the applications is also to fill in like a questionnaire where we ask you on the spot to just give us your outline of study plan, life plan, why you go to Belgium, how you will do your financing. So we have, this is an element in analysis of your visa application, like, is this a solid, serious person that wants to go to Belgium to study and not to do something else. So especially with preparatory courses, you should be able to outline the broader frame in which you are putting this language study. The second question on the insurance, it's not because the Schengen insurance is for 1 year that it's not renewable, but you can subscribe it from 3 months up to, you can subscribe it for a few days up to 1 year, and then you can renew it, of course. You can also, instead of the Schengen travel insurance, you can switch to the medical insurance mutuals that I have been mentioning. So you will be able to consider various forms of getting your medical issues insured. That's no problem. I think that's all. I hope I have answered the preoccupations by this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Anne. We have a few more questions. For maybe Renilde, Alice, but also Hannah can answer this. It's more on the side of living in Belgium. So we have a question on jobs for international students, whether they can work and what the opportunities are to work as a student. And the second question is on students that have specific mental conditions or maybe physical illness that needs to be treated during their studies. Is there any specific arrangement or provisions for this? So I will give the floor first to Alice and Renilde, and then Bahana can also add up to that.
Yes. About the job students, so students can have a job until 20 hours each week during the academic year. So when they have lessons, and so they can have the job during the weekend or during the lunch break or the night. And during the break, so holidays, they can have more hours of work without limit of hours. Renil, I don't know if you have more details about that.
Yes, of course, you need to be a full-time student, so you cannot work more than 20 hours, but we actually always recommend to work less than 20 hours because you really need your time for your studies, to attend classes, to prepare, to do coursework. So very often the counselors advise you not to work more than 10 hours, for example. And where to find jobs, I think now after the pandemic, it's very easy again. Student restaurants, services of the university, very often they ask student workers who can do a few hours. Now we see many restaurants and bars here in every city. They are looking for staff. And for example, in an international place like Brussels, you don't need to speak the local language because all the guests, we have 180 nationalities. So the people you will be serving, they will not always speak only Dutch or French, and then even the locals, they all speak English as well. So if in smaller university cities, it could be more important to speak the language to find a job, but in normal times it's easy to find a job for a few hours, but don't count on 20 hours and also don't try to work too much even if you found a job for 20 hours, because it could really take too much of your time compared to what you have the time you need for your studies. That's what I would like to advise.
Maybe I give the floor to Mbahana to complement on jobs, but also on physical and mental well-being for students and the provisions.
Yes. First for the jobs, I am now working at ALV. It's a student contract, and I only work for 10 hours per week. But there are also jobs available, such as in takeaway. That's like a delivery services in Belgium. So you do food delivery and stuff. And also, as Renilde mentioned before, cafes and restaurants, they have lots of new openings right now, and they even promoted it on their social media. But if you want to have a more clearer view of all the vacancies available, usually each university has their own job portal website. So for example, in KU Leuven, they have job teaser. So you can find temporary jobs, contract jobs, for example, student jobs, full-time jobs even, and part-time jobs. So everything is available from the university as well. So there's a lot of opportunities in here. For the second one, I myself have used the mental health services offered by KU Leuven. So since I am a master student, they cannot really help me with that, but they referred me to psychotherapists outside of the university. And the fees are covered by my health insurance. So I use CM, and they covered, if I'm not mistaken, about 10 to 15% of the fees. And it's not that expensive as well. So in my case, per session, it was 65 euros. And you get some of the money back as well. So, and they're really supportive with mental health, and really serious about it. And they wanted you to be healthy as well. So yeah, that's at least my experiences in here. And I hope I can answer your questions.
Thank you, Mbahana. I think it's a very important question because mental health as a student can be challenging in that period, that time of life, and it's very important to know that there is a support system and that there are good medical facilities also to assist you with that. We have one last question in the chat related to medical residency and the opportunities there for postgraduate medical training. I don't know whether Renilde and Alice can answer this.
Yes, I can start. We have medicine studies in French-speaking Belgium, but the first remark is that the program is in French, so maybe it can be difficult for some Indonesian students, but there are some French speakers among you, I hope. And about internship, yes, of course, after 6 years of a study program, more academic and research-based in universities, then you have 3 years of internship, or 2 years because it's changed, but 2 or 3 years of internship in the specialty you want to practice. And this is internship through the one you can have a salary. It's not a medical salary, but it's something to be able to live. And yes, I don't know if I'm answering the question, but it's how it works. And also something important, we have an admission examination to start a study program in medicine, and this exam is organized in Belgium. So it's a complicated matters and not very international study, but even for Belgian students, it's very complicated to start a program in medicine. I don't know, Ronil, if you want to give other information for the Flemish part.
Yes, as I already said, it's the same. The medical studies are done in Dutch, but then afterwards we have some advanced masters, if you want, specializations in English. And for example, the Indonesian student who will appear with her video tomorrow, she studies epidemiology. And this is a program offered in English. And you will, her name is Sesam, so look for Sesam, and you can probably find her also maybe on social media to get in touch with her directly if you have specific questions on this. But other than that, the basic medical studies are in Dutch.
Okay, thank you. We have come to the end of our question and answer session. I would just like to give the floor to one of the alumni who also is in this webinar and requested the floor for a minute in the chat. This is alumni from Belgium, Adriarto, who would like to also share very shortly his experience studying in Belgium. He's currently teaching French in Indonesia. So Adriarto, you have the floor for 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Andriarto, but you can call me Andri. What is the advantage, the big advantage by studying in Belgium is its 3 national languages. It's 3 official national languages. Because even if you study in an English program, you can still meet from your daily life person who speak French, person who speak Dutch, and person who speak German. So you can come back to Indonesia with 3 languages acquired. You can even take French courses, Dutch courses, and come back to Indonesia with a more rich CV because you have 3 languages. You have the languages of French, Netherlands, and Germany. So you don't necessarily need to go to France, to Netherlands, and to Germany. You can simply, with 1 ticket, go to Belgium and have those 3 languages. And now I can speak 3 languages. Bienvenue en Belgique. Welcome in Belgium. Welcome in Belgium. So whatever your field is, you have that language that advantage which you cannot get in many other countries. That's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andriarto, for this very positive last message for all the prospective students. We have come to the end of our webinar today, and I would like to thank all the participants that were here. I hope we provided you with informative presentations and that we have been able to answer your questions. We will send you the presentations and you can always get in contact with the different speakers here. I would like to also thank our speakers, Renilde Knevels from Study in Flanders, Alice Rasson from Study in Wallonia and Brussels, and then Pak Lucas from Alumni Belgia and Pak Hannah from PPI Belgia, as well as our consul Anne. So we are still here in the future to answer your questions. You can reach us via our website and social media accounts. So thank you all for being here. Have a nice day and hope to welcome you soon in Belgium.